How can you use your public speaking skills in your business? Okay, I'm going to answer that question is how do you use public speaking skills in a business? You don't need to be in sales to use public speaking. Very often you have a project that you need to present to your colleagues in an office meeting. You have office meetings and you go to office every week. There is an office meeting, irrespective whether you're in a back end job or you're in a front end job. If you're into sales and marketing, you got to make a marketing pitch. You got to talk about the new sales idea that you've got. If you are done something and you got to convince your boss or your HR head saying, listen, this is the job I did, you may have done just 10%, but you got to make it look that you did 90%. That's your convincing power. That's your presentation skill. There is n number of moments in life when you need to make a speech, or I wouldn't call the word a speech. I would refer to it as where you're given a chance to speak. And when you're given a chance to speak, you can either convince or you can confuse. If you convince, you will win friends. If you confuse, you may not win friends. But moreover, you don't need to convince everybody all the time. If you are confident and you state your opinion, you should be very agreeable to disagree. So not necessarily you need to disagree with everybody or everybody has to agree with you. This is me, this is what I think, and I believe it. That's it. By your confidence of your speech, people will know that, okay, I agree to disagree, and we can all both be happy at the same time. So in offices, it's very important to learn. As you guys are just about getting out of college and going into work, this is the biggest asset that you will have is your voice. If you're given a topic to speak, and see, there are two aspects about giving a topic to speak. I'm going to refer to both these aspects. One is in education, or one is in a debate, or one is in a control surrounding in college when they say, okay, impromptu speech. The other is when you are in the real world and says, okay, Martin, today you are going to be the speaker. You're going to speak about global economy. Oh, okay. Let me take the first one first. Obviously, the first comes first. So there is a very simple formula for everybody. And the formula that I learned 25 years ago in my public speaking class still remains the same. It's PREP, P-R-E-P. You state a point, take 1 point and don't hop around it. Take just 1 point. The best speakers always hit upon 1 point. You don't need 45 points to convey. You will confuse if you have 45 points. Take 1 point. Give a reason for that point. Why did you say that point? Give an example to support the reason. And then state the point again. This simple formula easily takes 10 to 15 minutes of your time in speaking. It's just 15 minutes, you can speak. You have a point, state your reason, give an example for the reason. P-R-E is example, and P again, state your point again. So that's a simple magic formula. If you have to go into the second situation of giving a speech, at that point of time, I would say a preparation. You have to prepare. Prep is also preparation. You got to prepare. Again, preparation involves around just 1 or 2 points. You don't need to go and tackle the world. There are a lot of examples that I can give you about working on 1 point, giving the example. Examples could be more than 1 example to make your topic a little longer. And you got to give a reason. State your point again. So that's one of the simple examples that I have for that. How do you overcome insult in a crowd in a polite way? Understand one very important in public speaking is your voice belongs to you, okay? And the voice belongs to somebody else. You're not in this world to stop others from speaking. People will love to speak. You don't need to retaliate to everybody all the time. If people love to say things, let them say things. If people have said something which offended you, you have 2 things. Either get out of the situation, walk away, or just ignore. The other person will automatically stop saying bad things. Because If you tend to get into an argument, then there is no reasoning in an argument. You can only reason and argue with somebody on the same platform. If that argument gets into another situation, it's a lose-lose situation. Always focus on being into a win-win situation. If it's a win-lose or a lose-lose, it's a worse situation. Get into a win-win situation, a discussion. It cannot be an argument. So polite way is to walk away or just ignore. Somewhere, someday down the line, it will always work. If the person isn't able to understand our point, how do we effectively convey ourselves? What you're asking me is, how do I effectively convince somebody who asked, Kenneth asked, you're asking me how do I effectively convince that person, not convey. You can only convey your point to a certain extent. You can't hold the person's neck and say, listen to me. There is no way you can. There is a conversation happens when two people agree on something or agree to disagree. There is no way you need to get into a, there are techniques to convince and confuse, but for the start, my focus has always been state your point, prep, give a reason for your point, why you stated your point, give an example to support the reason, and then state your point again. And that's it. Even in everyday conversation, you can do this. That really works. So okay, I have another question. Supposing you have prepared enough for a session, but somewhere you feel you haven't prepared, you feel you might fumble. How do you address the problem? All right. I have been saying this to my entertainers that don't practice till you get it right. Practice till you cannot get it wrong. You get that? Practice. Okay. The best impromptu speeches are always done with weeks of practice. The best stand-up comedians, you think they come up there on stage and rattle out just impromptu? No. They practice it over and over and over again till it becomes second nature to them. Okay. When I've been an MC for weddings, Christian weddings years ago, I practiced my script. I said it 100 times, 200 times, till the time I could possibly just stand and make the script a part of me, and it just flowed. And it just, then I could add, then you stop reasoning and thinking what to say, you focus on how to say. The moment you have to think what to say, you will stop focusing on how to say it. Then you become a rambling parrot. So practice is very important. Practice points. You don't need to, that's when you connect your language. If you know your English well, if your tongue, the riyaz of the tongue, the practice of the tongue is used to your words. If you're fumbling for words, then obviously you don't have the words with you. So practice reading so that the tongue is used to words. Then you pick up points. So creating sentences is not a problem. I know I've got 7 points. The points have to remember. So every time you practice your 7 points, obviously you may see a different sentence all the time. That's the key thing. Okay, so I know I've got 4 points or 5 points to speak, and I've got sentences to speak about, and I'm practicing my speech, say 10 times a day, but every time I'm using a different sentence, but I'm saying the same point. The grammar may be different, but the point is the same. So then your head knows what to speak, and then you focus on the expression and the emotion.